And we're live.
Hi, guys. So We're not going to waste any time. Wow, somebody hopped on already.
That was
How
quick.
exciting. Let us know who it is in the comments. We are not going to waste time. We're going to go right in because we're on a time crunch today. So yesterday when we were ending our live video, somebody asked, I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry, I didn't say your name, but do you remember who it was?
I don't remember who it was. I just remember the question.
Somebody asked if Adam or anybody who had a loved one recently released from prison was having trouble sleeping when they were released. And so I have my perspective on when Adam was released, but I think you should start and talk about you were able to sleep well in prison despite having a metal slab that was how many feet long and you're how many feet tall?
It was pretty much the exact length, the height of me, a little over 6 feet. And probably not quite as wide as my shoulders.
Yes.
You get very good at turning over in place.
I remember when you told me that one time you had to put a chair outside, like a foot away from the bed so you could stretch your arm out. Imagine. Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to waste time because again, we have something to do in 15 minutes. So go ahead. Why don't you talk about how you slept?
For me, the key in prison to sleeping well was always getting in a good workout. And I know, a lot of people question the amount of time that I have devoted to fitness, but honestly, and I'll repeat this, for many years, it was very focused, very intense workouts, but I tried to keep it right at 1 hour because I had a million other things that I was working on. And those are some of the principles, that I've sought to apply out here, making sure that wherever my effort is, that I'm solely focused on that and, I'm getting the most out of it. Same thing with my workouts, the workouts that we're doing together. We try and keep those as intense as possible. By getting all that energy out, I have always managed to sleep well and keep a healthy balance. So I think that's the biggest key. The second thing, in prison, hopefully, you're able to get some quiet time. Most places, once the doors lock at night, for the most part, it's pretty well enforced amongst the population. Like that's quiet time. Now, occasionally you get like a playoff sports game. Guys are going to be up yelling, banging on the doors. But for the most part, there's a general understanding like, man, we all need some peace and quiet, get a good night's sleep. I was very fortunate to be in places where I had a cell. When that door locked at night, for me, it was like I had a routine that I went through every night to wind it down, relax, get myself ready. And in my youth, I had a great difficulty sleeping. I was an insomniac. It's part of the reason why I went a little crazy, I think. So for me, sleep has always been a priority. And getting into the habit of winding it down every night, having some quiet time, and making sure that my bed was just for sleeping. Sometimes I'll read a little bit in bed, but I try not to get too much in the habit of that. I'd sit up, read. When I was done, I was done. Boom. Lay it down, take a couple deep breaths, and I'm out. So I was very fortunate to be able to develop that routine. And the times when it was a little bit louder, I had a backup plan. Earplugs. Earplugs work great. So there were times that I relied on those on the inside. Being on the outside now, I feel very, very fortunate that we have our own space, that it's peaceful, it's quiet. Those same habits are the things that I've tried to carry over to the outside to make sure that every night, like we wind it down, we got our tea. Rose got hers too. If you see, these are a couple of mugs. They didn't come out quite the way that I intended, but this was one of the few things that I was able to make while I was on the inside. So we do a little bit of tea at night, kind of wind it down, have some quiet time. Phones, devices, gotta go. That stuff doesn't even come into the bedroom. We've really gotten into the practice of making that, setting aside that quiet time so that we can get good solid sleep. And thanks to our curtains.
Yeah, thanks to the person who sent us the blackout curtains.
The blackout curtains.
A huge difference because we had a light out front coming in. But I can say, I didn't even know you were going to say working out. I thought you were going to talk about the tea.
The tea. Yeah.
The tea helping you wind down inside of prison. But I can say from my experience on the outside, I've never been to prison, but when I work out, I crash, I sleep hard. The caveat to that is if you work out at night, some people, the endorphins will keep you awake. I can work out at midnight and fall right asleep. Not that I ever would. It doesn't keep me awake. I crash and burn. But just note that if you work out, let's say 8, 9, 10 p.m., you come home and you're wired and you're like, I hate those two. They just told me to work out and I can't sleep now. It's everybody's body is very different, but you'll catch up within a few days. That said, after Adam was released from prison, he didn't sleep for a few days and neither did I. I think it was just like the adrenaline of him being home, and also your body, I think, was programmed to the counts at night. So can you speak to that?
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. That was a transition. For so many years, you get conditioned. I mean, even in your sleep, you get used to the noises, the sounds. When they come by and they do count, a lot of times the officers, we might be respectful of one another, keeping it quiet after lockdown, but the officers, a lot of times, they're not necessarily as respectful. You got people that work that late shift and they're walking around having a good old time, laughing, joking. And the keys. One thing that's always bothered me is the keys. When I hear keys swinging, the sound of the keys is always, for me, I've been highly attuned to that for 20 years. And that's something that's difficult to turn off. But I don't hear that anymore. I don't hear it out here. But I think what you're referring to was for those first couple of weeks when I got out, I was used to them coming around with the flashlight. They put the flashlight through the window right in your face. And whether I remember waking up or not, I'm sure it startled me. It jolted me awake, and I'd roll over and go right back to sleep. Or I hear the keys. I hear the guys out there. Again, I roll over. I go back to sleep. But being woken up numerous times throughout the night, unfortunately, I think you get used to that. And maybe, the difficulty that I was having those first couple of weeks was not hearing those noises when it was just so quiet.
Good point.
I mean, where we were too, we were out in a very quiet spot. Like there was, nothing happening out there.
I think you were also just thrown off. I mean, obviously he had the same exact routine for 20 years. And remember, there was one night that he woke up at 4:00 in the morning and started getting ready for the day. I think that without any realization that it was literally the middle of the night. And I think his body, and probably a lot of people, everybody that comes out of prison is going to be different. Their PTSD is going to be different. Their experiences inside are going to be different. There are going to be similar traumas, but the way that they handle re-entry will be different. And for Adam, and what I've heard happens for a lot of people, is you don't sleep for a couple of weeks and then you'll readjust. And I think it was, you were just thrown off. It was a brand new routine. It was a brand new life. It was a brand new area. Like you said, it was quiet. There were so many different things. So I saw somebody say that, two things. I saw somebody say that she can't turn her brain off at night and she can't sleep. Girl, I'm a sleeper, but I am a ruminator. I have such bad anxiety. The one and only thing that has helped me is CBD. It helps me shut off my brain and it just knocks me out. You have to play around with your dosage. But if you go to the link in our bio, it's cbdtv.com/SPWF. You'll get 15% off if you want to. And this isn't like a commercial or anything, but I swear by CBD that much that I partnered with Michael Santos, and you'll get 15% off. Not just you, anybody that uses that link will get 15% off of their order. You can get as much as you want. I use it for my knee. I use it to sleep. Willow, I saw your comment. Her husband's inside and has cancer. He's been fighting it for a really long time. He's down to about 140 pounds now. So she asked for prayers. And of course, Not only do you have our prayers, I wanted to say that so everybody that didn't read that comment can send you some good thoughts, vibes, prayers, all of the above. If there's anything we could do to help you and your husband, just let us know. If there's a petition, or I don't know if you've tried compassionate release or anything along those lines, but we're here for you, girl.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about? We only have about 3 minutes left before we got to get going. This was super helpful that somebody asked that question yesterday.
Yeah.
So if you guys have questions in the comments, add them and we'll get to them in shorter live videos. Or if you're watching this on the replay, you can put them in the comment box below and we'll be sure to answer your questions about Adam's time inside, your loved one. Go ahead.
I see Josh and Jesus's question here about his playlist. We did not check that out yet.
I think he sent that to us on Facebook, and it was right around the time when we were in, not Utah, Iowa or something, and we tried to get into Spotify, I think it was on, and we couldn't get in. But the whole roundabout is that we have not yet, but now that you reminded us, we'll check it out.
We'll definitely check that out. And, tonight we had talked about this. We really wanted to try and answer some more of your guys' questions. A lot of times the questions come up, and it's so quick in the live chats that we don't get a chance to address those. So we are going to try and go back and answer some of those, as we have time to do that. And that's it. I think it's time to call it night. It's time to call it night. We haven't eaten dinner yet. So we're going to do that. Today was we should talk about this on another video. Today was the first time Adam and I spent the afternoon apart since we've been together. Since we've been together in person since he was released. Can they see what happened? They can't see it. Go up a little bit. Oh, show them your knee. That's the worst. Right? See what happens when I leave for an hour? Show them your knee. She left me alone for a couple of hours. You have to stand up. I'm not going to see it. That's all right. It's bad. Trust me, you don't want to see it. It's gross. So she's going to take good care of me. Nurse Ratchet. Right. That was an evil laugh. It really was. It was my Nurse Ratchet laugh. You don't want to tell them what happened? You're just going to leave it at that? We had a slight trail running accident. When there's a mountain, that's within view, for me, I just got to go climb it. And, since I had a little time to take off and run, while Ro went and met up with a friend, I figured I'd go climb a mountain, right? Sounds logical. If it's there, it needs to be climbed. So on my way there, because it was not actually climbing. That was not where the accident occurred. Minor accident, that's all. Rebecca, that's a great question, and we're going to answer that in another video because we got to go. Okay. Did you ever have accidents in prison? Oh, man. And I want to talk about that time. Well, I'll say it afterwards. But yeah, that's a great, great, great question. Humpty Dumpty happened. All right, you guys, we love you. Keep your questions coming. We'll be back probably tomorrow. We will see you in the next one. Love you guys. And by the way, he's got scrapes all up his stomach. It's awful. I feel so bad for him. It's not that bad. We'll see you tomorrow.